Welcome to another episode of Saint Vincent Untold Stories. On this episode, we are going to reveal to you an untold story like I've never seen or heard before. And we are going to look at all the prime ministers from past to present. Big ups to all of my subscribers. And if you are new to the channel, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon, cause you are going to want to see this video and the many more like this one. Right now, class is in a session. If you want to know about the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, now is the time to tune in to Untold Stories. Get your kids around the table. Robert Milton Cato, born on the 3rd of June 1915, was a Vincentian politician who served as the first Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Before Robert became Prime Minister, he held the office of Chief Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines before we gained independence. Cato was the leader of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labour Party and held the country to independence in 1979. A lot of us wasn't even born in 1979. To my subscribers, do you remember that year that Cato became Prime Minister? What was it like? Cato attended the St. Vincent Boys Grammar School from 1928 to 1933. When Cato left school, he went to work as a barrister at law in Kingston, and he began his career in law and was called to the bar in 1948. In 1945, he went on to join the 1st Canadian Army and attained the rank of sergeant and gave active service in the 2nd World War in France, Belgium. You see, these are things that certain people won't tell you. But as a Vincentian, you need to know your history. He also served in Holland and Germany. Robert got married to Lucy Alexandra. When Robert returned after his active duty, he became involved in politics. In 1955, he co-founded the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labour Party. There are a lot of persons jumping for sides, not knowing who founded which side from the other side. But this is history I am giving you here today. Cato got elected into the office of Chief Minister on the 19th of May 1967. For all the youngsters doing exams in school, tune into Untold Stories and play this video over and over again, because we are calling the specific dates like how they put them on the exams, so no need to worry. As the head of the Labour Party, Cato did a lot to try to improve the economic standard of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But by 1972 to 1974, everything started to crumble. Cato was out of government following the defeat to the opposition leader, James Fitz-Alan Mitchell, in 1972. But Cato didn't stay down. In 1974, they won elections again. Cato led St. Vincent and the Grenadines to complete independence from Britain on the 27th of October 1979. Cato was also called by the alias the Father of Independence. Cato was the representative for the West St. George constituency. He retired from active politics following his party's defeat in the 1984 general election. Cato passed away on the 10th of February 1997 at the age of 81. Cato's dream was to bring unity to the Vincentian society and a brighter future for the people. In October 2000, the main hospital in St. Vincent and the Grenadines was renamed after Cato in his honor. That is the hospital that we now know as the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. You hear his story. Before we go on to the next Prime Minister, I want to do a little thing on Joshua first, because most people might say, why you don't give a summary on Theodore Joshua? Ebenezer Theodore Joshua, born on the 23rd of May, 1908, was a Vincentian politician and the first chief minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines from 1961 to 1967. He was the leader of the Legislative Council from 1956 to 1961. Joshua was born in Kingston, St. Vincent, in the British Windward Islands. As a young man in the 1920s, he went to work in islands like Trinidad, and from there he began to work with trade unions and was the official of the Oil Fields Workers Trade Union from 1938 until 1950. After he returned back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, he got involved in politics and was elected into the Assembly in 1951 as a member of the 8th Army Liberation in 1952. Him and his wife, Ivy Joshua, founded the People's Political Party, PPP, in 1957. Ebenezer and Ivy became the first married couple to be elected into Parliament. I want to ask a question though. Did we ever see that happen in St. Vincent and the Grenadines again, where wife and husband are contesting in different constituencies? In 1967, the PPP lost their parliamentary majority, and Joshua was succeeded by Milton Cato, a leader of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labour Party. Joshua remained in parliament. But the PPP began to decline as the New Democratic Party emerged as the political competition. In 1979, the PPP lost all parliamentary representation, and Joshua resigned as political leader in 1980, and the party was dissolved in 1984. Dissolved there means that it was finished because it no longer had any representation. Remember we told you that Cato had lost to James Fitzgerald Mitchell. Mitchell was born on the 15th of May, 1931. He served as the second Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines from 1984 to 2000. The New Democratic Party was founded by him in 1975. Mitchell was born on the Grenadine island of Bequia. He was educated at the St. Vincent Boys Grammar School, and he went on to university to complete his education at the Imperial College of the Tropical Agriculture in Trinidad and Tobago, and at the University of British Columbia in Canada, where he earned a bachelor's degree in agriculture in 1955. Mitchell worked with government and in the Ministry of Overseas Development in London. And now you understand why agriculture thrived under this man, and Banana's growth was so successful. He also worked as an agricultural research officer for the St. Vincent and the Grenadines government. But Mitchell went on to enter politics in 1966 by winning a legislative seat as a candidate of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labour Party. So when there are persons saying that the previous administration founded the party, that is not true. You heard that Mitchell was a part of that party before he founded the New Democratic Party. As I told you before, at Untold Stories, we have everything here for you. Don't worry yourselves. Mitchell was the Minister of Agriculture from 1967 to 1972. From 1972 to 1974, he was serving as the big man. Can remember in the previous part of this episode, we spoke about that. In 1975, he founded the New Democratic Party, becoming the sole parliamentary opposition until 1984. He became Prime Minister of Finance and Foreign Affairs in July 1984, and he was re-elected for a fourth successive term when his party scored a 8-7 victory in the parliamentary election On June 15th, 1998, in the year 2000, Mitchell retired as Prime Minister and NDP President, but he stayed as a minister until 2001. Mitchell was also Foreign Minister from 1984 until 1992 and a Privy Councillor beginning in 1985. Remember, we told you that Mitchell had retired in 2000. Well, he passed the baton on to Arnim Ulrich Eustace. Eustace was born on the 5th of October 1944. He served as the third Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and he is the former leader of the opposition and a former president of the New Democratic Party after resigning in 2016. Eustace was the constituency representative for the East Kingston area, and from 1998 until his retirement in 2020 on the 27th of October 2000. He succeeded James Fitzalan Mitchell as the leader of the NDP, and on the 28th of March 2001, the NDP was defeated in the 2001 general elections. Eustace attended the St. Vincent Boys Grammar School, and he attended the Sir George William University in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where he earned a bachelor's in economics and a master's in development economics from the University of Windsor in Ontario, Canada. At the age of 27, Eustace became the youngest permanent secretary in St. Vincent and the Grenadines when he was assigned to the Ministry of Agriculture. But that was cut short because in 1976 he resigned from the civil service on a point of principle for roughly 1 year. After that, Eustace became a fisherman. He used to fish in the waters of Edinburgh until Sir William Demas flew into St. Vincent to recruit the young economist into the Caribbean Development Bank in 1977. After that, him and his family relocated to Barbados, where he lived for the next 16 years. His full tour of duty with the CDB. So while there, he went up the ranks. He gained some position, but he returned to St. Vincent in 1993. Upon his return, he was appointed as advisor to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines from 1993. In 1998, he resigned from the public service and ran for political office in the West Kingston area and won that seat. In the year 2000, after Mitchell resigned, he passed on the baton to Arnim Eustace, but in 2001, they lost the election 3-12. In the year 2016, Eustace resigned as party leader and as the president of the New Democratic Party after holding the position for 15 years. Ralph Everard Gonsalve, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, from 2001 to this current time. Born on the 8th of August 1946 in the village of Canary, through a son of a smaller farmer and a businessman, and his mother, a small businesswoman as well. His ancestors came to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 1845 as indentured servants from the Portuguese island of Madeira. Gonsalves attended the Roman Catholic school in Calgary and the St. Vincent Boys Grammar School. He then went on to the University of the West Indies, where he completed his bachelor's degree in economics, and he later returned there to earn a master's degree in government. In 1974, he completed his doctorate in government at the University of Manchester. Gonsalves was called to the bar at Gary's Inn in London in 1981. He also attended the Macquarie University in Uganda. Gonsalves became the president of the University of the West Indies Glide of Undergraduates and Debating Society. There, he led a march because of the deportation of the historian and intellectual Walter Rodney by the Jamaican government. In 1994, Gonzalez became the deputy leader of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labour Party. After the resignation of Vincent Beach, Gonzalez became leader of the party in 1998. In 2001, he led his party to victory, becoming the fourth Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Gonzalez is a lawyer by profession. He is also an author of many books. Right at this present time, Gonzalez is still the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You see how many qualifications and accomplishments these men have under their belts. Being a Prime Minister is not a joker matter, you know. It is serious business. With that being said, I would just want to big up the entire population in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the regional islands, and the international countries who are supporting and praying for us during these difficult times. We thank you.